Oh yeah, baby.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Call to Act podcast, and it's a daily thing. It's so easy for these things to creep into our minds. The depression, the anxiety, the stress over what's tomorrow, what's going to happen to me tomorrow? What's going to happen to me next week? The cure for all this stuff is showing up and doing what you can do each and every day. It doesn't matter where you are, because ultimately, Joseph was sold into slavery at 17. When he was finally brought out of bondage, that's basically bondage the whole way up, right? From the pit to being a slave to being in jail. He's taken out of jail because he's needed in that moment. And you know what? He could have said, you know what? This cupbearer is lying to you, right? He could have got even, right? And I'm using air quotes on that. He could have gotten even. And when he was put in front of Pharaoh, said, I don't know what this guy's talking about. And I'm sure that cupbearer, there would have been some trouble for him. But you know what? He didn't, because he was blessed with a gift from God. And he said, you know what? I'm going to use my gift to the best of my ability for you, Lord. And he was promoted to second in command, to the point where if you look after they collect all the food, when the famine hit and the people started coming to Pharaoh, he's like, I don't know, go to Joseph, go see Joseph. Like, don't even come to me, go see Joseph. This was a dude that was in a pit, and then he's a slave, and then he's put in jail. And then in an instant, he's promoted to a position where people are coming to him for answers. Why? Because that daily grind, the daily staying on what he needed to do in that moment. There's so many moments in life when you're trying to do more for God that these different things pop up and you're like, why is this happening right now? When I was in high school, I know I take it back to basketball, but it's just what I know. When I was a sophomore in high school, I played at Tennessee Temple Academy here in Chattanooga. And the summer leading up to that, we would have different open gyms and stuff like that. And we had a new basketball coach. And I remember talking to him before the season, and he's like, yeah, I want you to do this. I want you to do that. And he's like, I want you to be the guy that, like, at the end of the game, if we need somebody to lean on, like, I want you to be that dude. And I'm like, yeah, I got you, whatever you want me to do. And I remember about midway through the season, up to that point, I felt like he was dogging me a lot, right? Like, he's like, anytime we went to the locker room, he didn't really call out a bunch of the other guys, but I remember he would call me out, rip me up. And I remember finally towards the middle of the year, I was just fed up with it. We had a bad game. We got beat pretty bad. And he had said something to me, in the locker room. And I remember after the game was over, after everybody left, I went up to him and I said, what's going on? Why am I the only name that I hear you saying? Why are you only calling me out? Why aren't you calling out these other dudes? He had a worse game than I did. He didn't do anything today. That guy didn't even get in the game. Why are you saying something to me? And he kind of looked kind of shocked. And he was like, I thought that's what you wanted. Like, I thought you wanted to get better. I thought you could handle it. I don't know that those guys can handle it. You told me at the beginning of the season, whatever I needed from you, that you got me. And that's what God is telling us. Like, especially if you're somebody that's trying to do more for him, you can't ask God to take you to a level that you haven't been trained for. Right? So if you feel like you're given an unfair hand, what are you praying for? Like, what are you trying to seek after? Like, what's your goal?